Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F Podcast, where we try not to F the podcast up. And today, we are going through part two of our reaction to the history of St. Nick. We've gotten into some touchy material. I don't know what to think of it. And I'm scared to comment on it because the algorithm might get very mad at me very quickly. So, with that being said...
I'm not mad at you.
With that being said, Trevor, do you have any thoughts before we go on?
I'm a blank sheet.
You're a blank sheet. I think I probably need to be a blank sheet until we get through the Netherlands version of St. Nicholas.
Yeah, no, this is gonna throw me for a loop.
This is landmine material. So.
Or eggshells.
Or eggshells. Yes, we're walking on eggshells. While St. Nick uses a riding crop and steals children. All right, let's go on.
Sorry, wrong song.
Teacher gave the role of Punisher to Black Peter.
When they were very naughty, St. Nicholas said to Black Peter,
I know nothing.
Get
I know nothing.
the naughty ones and put them in your sack. And then,
this is new to me.
And when the party was over, then they believed that the naughty ones were taken back to Spain. And then after a year, they're coming back. And they were very good and very obedient and very high.
Krampus ain't gonna take you to hell, children. He's taking you to Spain. Trust me, it's worse.
Those aren't the same kids. Dun, dun, dun.
If you aren't good for Christmas, little children, we're going to take you to Spain. Oh, yay, nationalism. That's fantastic.
I gotta take a quick break real quick.
All right, go on, sir. Turn your camera off.
Oh. Let's see.
We'll give him a minute while he does this. We're not going to comment on the eggshells, the obvious bombs that we're being given here, the layups for jokes that will get us banned from the internet. We're not going to say a word.
Hardworking children. But in the other countries, dus in Austria, Switzerland and Hungary, St. Nicholas was accompanied with very terrifying persons. There were blackamoors, there were herring monsters and even devils to frighten the naughty children.
Well, there's an origin of Krampus you probably weren't expecting to hear. Congratulations, you learned something today.
An example for the good ones.
Heel graag een PlayStation.
Please may I have a PlayStation?
Een Lego train.
A Lego train.
Allemaal bestuur.
With all kinds of wheels.
Een trein.
And trains and tracks. That would be very nice.
En als dat is gebeurd, dan komt er pakjesavond, 5 december.
And when the night itself comes, the 5th of December, we have to wait until after we have eaten as a family.
En als ze dan klopt er...
And then, Black Peter knocks on the door. Last year, Black Peter actually came in.
Oh, don't do it.
After he has knocked the door, there will be a sack in front of the door with presents. And Papa will share out the presents. We are not allowed. Only Papa can do this.
Papa doet het.
Wat zit hier, jongen? Anders kan je het niet zien. Oh. Spannend. Even kijken hoor. Van wie zal deze zijn? Wauw. Voor Roos.
Voor Roos, hè?
Papa,
Laat even zitten.
maak hem maar open.
Ja.
Express. Wauw, de Banana Express. Dank u wel, Sinterklaas.
Okay.
Okay.
Many of the customs surrounding the Christian Sinterklaas are vestiges of an older pre-Christian religion. Checking up on naughty children, riding a white horse, and children leaving food out
you're
at
good.
night can all be traced back to the Norse god Odin.
Let the racial humor
He
speak
too
for
had a long
itself.
white beard and spent the year in distant land. In
Did
his
it get
case,
bad?
Valhalla.
It didn't get good.
On the eve of the winter
Well, that's
solstice,
better than
he would come
not
back
good.
to Earth and
Not
seek out
good.
evildoers.
At least the Santa Claus here ain't fat.
Great white horse,
I'm not letting that
carrying
go.
off naughty children
At least he's
in
like
howl
a
of
somewhat
wind.
dashing individual who's not a testament to gluttony and excess. I can live with that.
Well, he hasn't made it to America yet.
He hasn't gotten to America yet. Maybe he gets to America last. And by the time he reaches the United States, he's like just a tub of lard from all the cookies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe Santa Claus is a supernatural being who eats once a year as he's giving out presents, and then he just grows and grows and grows and starves himself throughout the rest of the year. I'm going to go with that. It doesn't make a lick of sense, but I'm going to go with that.
Kind of like hibernation.
Yes, only with fat. Oh, that's a stupid joke. Anyway, I am like digging the bottom of the barrel here, man. I couldn't care less about Santa Claus. We're just, chase the algorithm. 'Tis the season, so we're gonna.
To be jolly.
We're gonna chase the season. No. All right.
Our journey now crosses the Atlantic.
And we get introduced to the fat man. Why do we need to hear? We already know about American fat Santa.
And today,
Not interesting.
Manhattan is probably the epitome of the
pass?
commercial exploitation of the holiday season.
Oh, we're gonna talk about commercial exploitation. Okay.
But it also had a vital role to play in evolving St. Nicholas into a character that has become recognized all over the world.
Thanks to Coca-Cola.
New York has the legitimate right
Bring the
to
polar
lay
bears
claim
back.
to the invention of the American Santa Claus.
Do you own your own home in
stop
Missouri?
it.
Oh, hi.
I gotta mute you now. You irritating cuss. I'm like, hello, lady. Don't point at me.
How dare you? She's a nice lady.
Originally, New York was known as New Amsterdam, but many Dutch immigrants settled here, bringing with them many European customs and traditions.
Oh, so we can blame the
There's a
Dutch.
long-standing
All right.
legend, one of many
So
St.
now we're
Nicholas
in
legends,
Dutch instead of
that
Amsterdam.
St. Nicholas came to
I
America
guess.
through the Dutch. And of course, it's true that the Dutch settled in New Amsterdam, now New York City, back in the early 17th
Oh,
century.
my bad.
But there seems to be no evidence that they actually brought St. Nicholas rituals with them. St. Nicholas was reinvented as Santa Claus in New York early in the 19th century by a group of patrician gentlemen who were not Dutch in the least. They were all of British stock, but they loved to identify with the Dutch. They were looking for a set of legends that they could associate with New York as it used to be, and that is to say, with America as it used to be.
One New York resident who wrote about the changing times was Dietrich Knickerbocker.
All right, I'm skipping because we already know where America's tragedy leads. So talk for a minute while I find a place that's actually like appropriate, because we need to get through this.
Okay. Yeah, and I can see it on the live stream, by the way, your mouse and everything.
That's okay. You can look at my poor attempt at work. We got Martin Luther here.
That's all right.
Is that okay? Are they gonna blame the Protestants for something stupid, or are they gonna try to move on here? Let's jump
I don't
here
know.
and see what we end up with. Okay, let's see where we end up here.
Let's go.
18th century, Martin Luther's Reformation brought about the anti-Catholic movement in Germany.
Martin Luther.
As Protestants could not have saints, a new Christmas tradition was needed. So the baby Jesus became the bringer of gifts.
The Holy Christ is actually only a baby, so it made no sense that he could bring the presents.
Oh, shut up. So, okay. That makes sense because it was Christ who was inspiring St. Nick. So, meh. Lady.
Wait, not the other way around?
Oh, gosh, Trevor.
You lost me.
No, they're
I'm
complaining about baby. Well, maybe I'm jumping the gun here. They were mad because the Protestants couldn't use saints, or they were saying the Protestants couldn't use saints. Maybe this sounded mad to me, but maybe I'm just being sensitive. But anyway, so they're saying, well, baby Jesus couldn't bring the gifts because, you know, he's a baby, so I guess they're going to incorporate Santa Claus somehow into that. But I'm like, it still makes sense because Saint Nick, you know, was inspired by Christ. That's why he, you know, gave the gifts and did what he did. So I'm maybe they're not complaining and I'm just reading into that, but, you know.
So Saint Nick came after Christ.
Yes, by quite a bit. So,
okay, yeah, I don't know my history on it. So.
Gosh, yeah, maybe we should have done the Matt Reeves one first because I feel like we kind of need to learn more about the actual original Santa Claus, and I thought we were going to get to dodge it. Because, you know, they talked about St. Nick in the beginning, but apparently not enough. No, St. Nick was a pretty significant saint in the old church. So, you know, the traditions have been kind of molded around him.
Oh, yeah, no, I've heard about him growing up and stuff. I just don't know my actual, dates and history of it.
We'll do that on the next episode because I kind of feel like that needs talked about. Like, we need to know more about Saint Nick here. I don't really think you can understand what Christmas is about. Like, we've seen a bunch of very bizarre traditions, but I would expect to see various traditions, and some of them, from my perspective, being bizarre throughout the world anyway. That's not... I can't really point to anything I've learned here other than... You know, traditions can be weird, but I already knew that, so I don't know. So let's see what they have to say before we move on, because maybe we'll do the history of St. Nick here in a few minutes, but let's try to get this video wrapped up anyway.
Okie dokie.
Neither did it make sense for a stronger young man, because that would not fit in with the story of Christmas. Therefore, the Holy Christ evolved into a female fairy-like figure.
What? Where are we at?
By the 1900s, the Nuremberg Christkind wore a golden pleated robe based on the Nuremberg golden angel. In other German towns and cities, the Christkind wears white and a starry wreath. It's a great honor for any girl to be chosen to be the Christkind.
Okay.
The contents of the letters and drawings are just like those by children anywhere. But in many parts of Germany, Austria, the Czech Republic and Switzerland, the recipient is the Christkind.
Ich stell's mir so vor. I imagine her to have long curly hair and a long dress and a big crown.
Okay, so that's interesting. So if I'm understanding this correctly, they don't have a Santa Claus.
No.
So they have I kind of like that better. But I really don't like Santa Claus. I like St. Nick, but I don't like Santa Claus. So, all right.
I also think she would have a crown and a golden robe and golden curly hair.
And a golden book. Kling, Glöckchen, klingelingeling. Kling, Glöckchen, kling. Lasst mich rein, ihr Kinder. Ist so kalt der Winter. Lieber guter Nikolaus, bitte komm in unser Haus. Der Weg von Tannenwald ist bald und es ist kalt. Und weiter geht's nicht.
Super, toll hast du es gemacht. Ist doch einen großen Applaus schon. Super.
The Christkind, being entertained by a carol about St. Nicholas, shows how the roles of the religious figures have merged. The Weihnachtsmann, or Father Christmas, also features in certain parts of Germany.
Today it is totally different. Today the Christkind comes mainly to the Catholic families. So in South and Southwest Germany, where Catholicism is quite widespread, Christkind is the present bringer. And in North Germany, in the evangelical areas, Father Christmas brings the presents. So this is a crossover development which is very interesting.
So again, it comes back to what region are you in?
Yeah, yeah. So it looks like they don't call Saint Nick here. They just call him Father Christmas. Well, all right.
Just like Santa and Father Christmas, the Christkind also visits on Christmas Eve.
I think the Christkind brings the presents when we are all in church.
That's on the 24th of December, and when we come home, we aren't allowed into the living room. Then we are allowed in, and there is a decorated Christmas tree.
Who's gonna tell them?
Good job, Mom and Dad.
The Christmas tree is a gift that Germany gave to the rest of the world.
Oh, sehr schön. Und guck dir mal die vielen Geschenke an.
Today, Santa Claus can be seen alongside the Christkind even in the German Christkindlmarkt in Nuremberg.
Okay, I apologize for being somewhat obnoxious before, because I actually, of all the traditions I've seen so far, I kind of mind this one the least. I kind of like this one, actually. Your thoughts, Mr. Trevor?
Well, I honestly wouldn't mind trying a little bit of everyone's. Except for Amsterdam's. That one was a little out there.
You'll go to jail if you try that one. You can't do those traditions here. That's
just gonna try each one.
We're just gonna omit the whole Black Peter thing.
The legal ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind trying this tradition out.
No, this one seems all right. I mean, it's like an avatar for Christmas that's not, I mean, it's still kind of, I guess it's, some people might say it's adulterous to have an avatar at all, but, I don't mind it,
Well, as long as you're not worshiping it.
Well, yeah, it's a little more abstract than Saint Nick, I guess, or Santa Claus, and that's probably why it's appealing to me, because you don't need to be hearing about you don't need an entire community lying to you, telling you somebody's real when they're not when you're 6. I just think that's going to jade you when you get older. But I'm a Grinch. What can I say? I'm a Grinch.
You got jaded a lot, didn't you?
I did. Well, what's kind of got me on this shtick and got me kind of upset, and I'm going to go on a rant here, so I'm switching over to the other screen, because it's got to be transformative. I didn't realize how much social pressure there was to go along with the Santa Claus thing, because before, me and Jess, we just kind of were like, well, we're gonna go with the Saint Nick story. He left presents on doorsteps, and he was a historical figure, and Santa Claus is based on him. That was kind of what the original plan was, but when Demi got older, like 5 or 6, they started Jess really did start to feel a lot of pressure to kind of go along with the Santa Claus thing. You gotta say it's from Santa Claus, there is this kind of communal pressure to go along with it. Right. And to me, that's kind of spooky, and it does kind of create this idea. It's like, well, if a whole town is willing to lie to you about it, I'm just thinking maybe I'm just a weird 6-year-old, but I mean, good night. If I were 6, and I was, if they're willing to lie about that, what else are they willing to lie about? That's kind of
right.
I just don't it's to us it's a fun tradition, but to a kid it's going to be a lie, and that bugs me. It makes me feel like
That's a good point.
Yeah,
we were just kind of gonna roll until our kids come to us and ask us.
Yeah, the second Demi asks me, I'm going to explain the whole thing. I don't really feel like I have a choice. But right now, it's impossible to really tell her Santa Claus isn't real, to sit down and explain it to her, because everybody is like, oh, Santa Claus is going to bring you presents. Santa Claus is going to bring you presents.
You better be good.
Same thing with Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny. It's like everybody's just drilling it in your head, and you kind of, if you kind of sit there and go, well, you know, Santa Claus ain't real, then a 6-year-old's going to go, okay, and then forget like 30 seconds later.
Right.
You know? And yeah, I mean, like, us as adults, we're capable of kind of considering the nuance of the whole thing, but a kid is just going to view it as a lie. And that's going to plant a seed. It's going to make you kind of distrust your folks. And I just don't care for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on some level, our kids already distrust us a little bit.
Yeah. Well, like, you're the disciplinarian anyway.
Yeah.
You know, because you're the disciplinarian, and because they're always scared of making you mad to a certain extent, they're already going to kind of distrust you, and that kind of affirms that a little bit. So I don't care for it, but there's a lot of pressure to go along with it when you're an adult, which kind of surprised me, you know. But,
yeah, that's a good point.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a Grinch. That's okay though. It's my opinion. So eh.
You can be my Grinch.
I don't know what that means.
It doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Moving on.
All right.
It's ironic that a variation on the pronunciation of Christkind, Kris Kringle, has become another name for Santa Claus in certain parts of America. Barcelona Harbour on the 5th of January, and a large expectant crowd has gathered. Some special guests are expected.
Epiphany is in its origin a religious festivity, and with the celebrated introduction of Jesus Christ to the rest of the world. In Spain, we don't have Father Christmas. Traditionally, we have the 3 wise men that come during the night from the 5th to the 6th of January and give presents to the little children. The 3 wise men are Melchior, that represents Europe, Gaspar, who represents Asia, and Balthasar represents Africa. They were the 3 continents known at the time Jesus Christ was born.
See, I like that.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I like the reactions of, you know, the nativity and all that. That's cool. I like that. That's great.
It is very difficult to track back the real origins of the tradition.
I dare you to let me build you.
I dare you to not plague me with ads, YouTube.
They're adding.
Yeah. I'm not buying your thing, dude.
Oh, come on.
Nowadays, we're very proud
he
of
was
having
daring
the
you to buy the thing.
Well, if he's daring me.
Anglo-Saxon tradition of Santa Claus or
I'm sure it's a
Father
great
Christmas.
ad. I don't know
We
the
feel
dude.
that
I'm
we are
sure it was a
different
fantastic
with
ad.
that. And of course, it's not only a tradition in Spain, it's a tradition in South America and in the old Spanish colonies all around the world.
That's a cool light show.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The kids have to write the letters
I wanna
and
see
think
that
about the
parade.
presents that they want to ask them for.
Our local parade,
And you
they,
have to throw
the band
letters
played
to the
and
postal boxes.
they threw
And
some
of course,
candy,
the
and
kids
that was
are
about it.
supposed to read all the letters of the kids during the night and prepare the
The whole
presents for
9
the
yards.
following day.
That's pretty cool.
The three kings do not just visit Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Alcoy is a bit special because in this town the idea of preparing a cavalcade in which you had a parade with the camels and the kings in person was first thought here and first realized in 1886. During the cavalcade, they normally give like 1,000 kilos of caramels and candies all around.
I love caramel candies.
The best thing is to receive the presents from the pages. What you have is like large ladders that are put against the balconies, and then you'll have the pages climbing around with big packets full of presents and toys. And then you'll see the little kids receiving with all the emotion these packages from the real kings and pages.
That's very nice of them.
It's a little bit more believable than the chimney thing.
Yeah.
Okay, racial stuff aside, that's a pretty cool tradition.
I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I've liked this one the most so far. Like, when you get a little further removed from the Santa Claus thing, you have the three kings coming in. That's cool. Like, that's like the actual... It's a pretty... I mean, technically it's not Christmas, but that's a pretty big component of the Christmas story. So, yeah, that's
part of the nativity story.
Well, when you're a kid, can you imagine how exciting it would be to have somebody climbing up to your roof just to give you toys? That would excite a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, we're actually going to call it good here. And we are going to... I'm going to end this review of the various Christian cultures. If you want to watch this whole video, it is called The Legends of Santa Christmas Documentary, Real Stories. And the channel is called Real Stories on YouTube. So if you are inclined to learn more, go give them a look-see. So...
I'm going to have to give them a look-see later.
Yeah, that was educational. I was a bit of a butt in part of it, but it was educational. So, Mr. Trevor, I'm going to end this with a final question to you that we've had to deal with growing up in the circles we grew up in. So, do you think it is a sin to celebrate Christmas because the holiday has pagan roots? I mean, the answer is obviously no, because we both celebrate Christmas, but why or why not?
No, I don't think it's a sin to celebrate the tradition of Christmas. No, I don't. The only part that makes it sinful is worshiping it.
Yeah.
So, you got gluttony, which is the biggest part of it. Is I want. And originally, the gifting of Christmas is giving instead of getting. So,
yeah,
most of the time, we just give our time. That's what little we can give.
Yeah.
So we go and see family. And if we don't get anything, I'm trying to teach my kids this. If we don't get anything, that's fine. What we did get was time with family. and that's a very important thing.
Oh, I agree.
Some family we only see once a year.
Yeah.
Around the holidays.
No, I completely agree with you, and I think that's what ultimately the holidays in general are about. It's about spending time with family. It's about you being with each other, giving gifts, showing appreciation for one another, and, you know, recognizing those bonds that hold us together. And that's the opposite of corporatism, which, you know, I mean, I hate to sound like a communist because I'm not a communist, but it does bother me. The modern mascot of Santa, the older I get, really gets to me more and more. Because it's just like, you got this giant fat man giving presents at random, and it's just, it is an inverse of what Christmas is supposed to be. Like, we receive gifts, you know, and that's great, but we're also supposed to be giving gifts, and we're supposed to be, you know, learning the value of giving to other people the same way Christ gave his life for us. That's the whole idea. And yeah, I mean, that's a good thing no matter what culture you're from. So I'm not bothered by the pagan roots of the holiday. And I've never really been bothered by the idea of incorporating pagan traditions into the Christian religion in general. It's like, you've got to teach people that have never heard about Christ Christian concepts. Well, you know, what better place to start than those people's own traditions? Because I think I'm not quoting C.S. Lewis or J.R.R. Tolkien, but that's kind of where they were at. You know, those old myths do have you know, elements of truth in them. Yeah. And you can use those elements of truth to teach people about Christianity and about Christ and teach them that God loves them. Like, you can use what they already know as a bedrock for all that. And so I think it's fine to use holidays of pagan roots or what have you. I don't have any issue with that at all. What I do have an issue with is telling people that there's some dad-blame phantom known as Santa Claus who's really real, and he's really going to give you presents, and, you know, deifying a mascot, essentially. Because I think, you know, you do eventually learn that Santa Claus isn't real, and that is going to beg, and you're going to learn that all the mascots aren't real, and that is going to beg the question, well, what else isn't real? If you can't see it, is it real? Like, it just plants those secular seeds, as it were, and I don't care for it, and I don't think people are willing to admit that it's as big a problem as it is.
Yeah, and then you get upset kids about, you know, Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and all the other entities.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just don't think it's not needed, because all those holidays have a pre-existing lore around them anyway. Oh, so why have the mascot? It doesn't make any sense. I've never understood why we have an Easter Bunny. It's just an attempt to secularize things, in my opinion. Same thing with Santa Claus. Like, the big fat man is like, he's a mascot for corporatism, whether corporatism is a good thing or a bad thing. He ain't a mascot for Christ. And that's what the holiday is about.
Yep.
You know, and I'm sorry, but family time and giving to each other should be enough to unite people. You don't need a dad-blame mascot for that.
Or gifts.
Or gifts. The gifts are nice. I mean, I like getting gifts. I don't want to dunk on it, but yeah, that's not what the holiday's about. And, you know, just as a little random tirade, one thing that's really bugging me is this growing impulse to just skip Thanksgiving. That is a beautiful cockroach.
It's bugging him.
It's Oh, I see what you did there. Funny. Ha, ha, ha. Anyway. No.
Sorry.
No, you're good, man. No, what the heck was I saying now?
Got him.
I was about to get all pretentious and you threw me off. No, okay, Thanksgiving. It's bugging me that people are like ignoring Thanksgiving now and like setting up Christmas decorations before Thanksgiving's even been celebrated. I mean, it's bad enough that we have a holiday devoted for gratitude, and then it's immediately replaced by Black Friday, you know. That's bad enough. It's such a perverted thing in our culture, but, you know, to sit there and try to omit the holiday altogether, it's like, what, Hallmark can't make enough money off the dad-blame cards for Thanksgiving? You got to just omit the holiday, too? and just make Christmas season that much longer?
It's because they tied it in with Columbus and that whole spiel about how Columbus was this terrible person because of what he did.
I think there's some college egghead who actually believes that, but
yeah,
I think the powers that be that started pushing that narrative just don't like whoever they are, they don't like the idea that people should be grateful. I mean, why are you going to spend a bunch of money on a TV if you're grateful for what you already have? Who profits from that?
Yep.
You know? And so, I mean, it's making me upset. And, you know, for as campy as that Jim Carrey Grinch movie was, I mean, it really was ahead of its time in that way. Like, it was warning against this kind of oversaturation of corporatism in a holiday. I mean, capitalism's fine. There's nothing wrong with capitalism. There's nothing wrong with making money. But you got to be grateful sometimes, and you got to spend time with your family sometimes. You can take a day off from buying crap to spend time with your family. That's okay. It's not gonna like cause the American economy to collapse.
Right.
It's just ridiculous. So, okay.
Capitalism is the devil.
It's not, though. It's really not. It's just there's people that don't know when to stop. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, guys, you can take a break. You don't have to be making money all the time. It's fine. Take a day and, you know, take all that money you've accumulated and give some of it to your spouse and your kid and then, like, you know, spend time with them. It's fantastic. You'll remember why you were working so hard in the first place.
Yep.
Anyway. Okay. So I'm done being preachy. We're going to move on to the next episode. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Next time.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.